great beings doing the planetary work of this earth on the axis of rotation of our earth and the poles, transmitting radioactive waves, establishing centers of transmission of video activity. That is video. That is television and radio activity. And forming corresponding centers. For the reason they use the same minerals of the earth to construct the bodies also. These devas use the same minerals of the earth to construct the physical bodies also. Just as little magnets are built from the substance of bigger magnets, are built from the substance of bigger magnets, and then arranging these little magnets on a bigger magnet in the required direction, so that all of them submit themselves to the law of gravitation and get attracted to this earth. This is what is happening. And the intermediary beings between the human beings and the devas, they are existing on the axis of rotation of this earth. One group of them exists in the North Pole, and they have their correspondence in our head center. Their office is called Shambhala. Another group exists on the equatorial belt at the geometrical center of the earth. They have their corresponding center in our heart, and it is called hierarchy. These are the followers of Sanat Kumara, Manu, and the followers of the Christ. They are the higher masters, Nirmanakayas. They are technically called Nirmanakayas. This is a term used by the Tibetan Buddhists, and for the first time used in English books by Blavatsky. The word means those who can at their will build their bodies. This is the meaning for all the ordinary readers. But for the students of esoteric schools, the word Nirmanakaya means builders of bodies. Builders of not their bodies but our bodies. And these masters work from these centers. And the centers on the earth work as transmitting centers, whereas the centers in our vertebral column, they work as receiving centers. Whether we know all these things or not, there is a minimum of the matter received from the by the receiving center. There is a minimum of matter received by the receiving center, and that is what is called the mind and the force that works the routine activity of this body. So, yoga is a process of tuning these centers to the original centers. Just as the boy knows how to tune his TV to the programs, or how to tune the radio to the transmitting station, the student of real yoga path gets trained himself into the art of tuning. This is what is called yoga. And there are two schools of yoga. The one school, they work with the higher centers. The masters of those schools establish contact with us through the higher centers and stimulate the higher 3 or 4 centers, and then gradually the lower center. As a result of which, we receive only good thoughts in the beginning, good thoughts, and nothing more. Afterwards, gradually, our sense of responsibility begins to increase. Instead of privileges being increased, and then our behavior gets rectified and our propriety increases. Then gradually the lower power centers will be stimulated. So, unless there is a realization and unless there is a response to a greater awareness of existence and a willing acceptance to higher responsibilities of this earth, unless these things are stimulated, the abilities and capabilities that are kept in the lower 3 centers by nature are not at all permitted to stimulate. This is what is called the right hand path, which belongs to the path of the masters, who belong to the path of Patanjali and Bhagavad Gita. The left hand path is the master asks the disciple to begin to meditate upon the base center first, and the base center begins to get first stimulation. Blavatsky compares this with disturbing a lake where there are horrible crocodiles and then getting into the lake to take a bath. Same is the fate of the fellow who follows this system. And then the wonderful snake called Kundalini begins to lift its head in terms of matter and force, because there is no mind here. There are only desires and instincts and reflexes, and they are first galvanized. So we will be a big beast of desires. Before the practice, I was eating only 2 eggs in the day. After starting the practice, I purchase all the eggs in the shop and begin to eat. And all the chickens begin to move and they begin to shout inside. Then there will be the day of judgment by the Lord, called the law of karma. And the Lord sits on the throne and asks, "You fellow, how many eggs you have eaten?" We say no. And he throws some grains like this. You know, he has described in the gospel about the graining of the throwing of the grains. Then all these little beings come out to eat that grain. And the Lord calls all those chickens, hundreds and thousands of little things. The Lord says, "Let there be iron beaks to you, and let all of you eat this fellow." They begin to eat that fellow, in the form of gastric ulcer and various digestive diseases, and in the form of the surgeons and their knives. This is the story when we begin to stimulate the lower center first. Our capabilities to wish and desire, they are magnified. Our capacity to attract the opposite sex will be magnified. Wonderful things happen. And we will be in hot soup within no time. We believe that we drink the soup, but we are placed into the soup. So this is what is called the left-hand path. The difference between the two paths is the masters of the right-hand path exist somewhere else, and they leave our discipline to our own responsibility. At the same time, they stimulate our sense of responsibility more and more. Whereas these wonderful masters of the left-hand path, they physically exist with the disciples. They own their disciples. They possess their disciple. Whatever good things are there in the house of the disciple should be first given to the master, and then only he should use. If you purchase good yogurt and sour cream, you should offer one packet to him, and after he eats only you should eat. So they take care of every discipline of every day upon you. And whenever you disobey them, they are angry, they open their mouth and show their tusks and fangs, and they blow out the fire of their anger and wrath upon you. They can curse you. They can curse you. They can give you malediction. They can kick you and blow you. This is the difference between the right hand path and the left hand path. This is called yoga path. And in Sanskrit, to distinguish between the two paths, the first path is called northern path. The second path is called the southern path. And the technical terms in Sanskrit for the first path is samayachara. Achara means procedure and conduct. Samaya means traditional. So it is called the traditional procedure. The second one is called kaulachara. The word kaula, the base center or Mooladhara. And the whole word means the procedure that starts with the cellar, that is the base center. Correspondences. Yes, it is symbolic, but it is symbolic with the North Pole and South Pole of our body only, not the earth. So now let us read the sentences of the master. How the meditation on the golden yellow color saves and protects her. Unless we know the value, at least to some extent, we cannot appreciate the need of the meditation. Unless we appreciate it, we are not pleased to follow the path. So we read the sentence of the master once again. Much good can come from the frequent use of the color yellow. One should surround himself with this color. That means on the physical plane also, use as many articles in your room as possible with this color. It serves to keep inflowing energies in the head or to prevent their descent not lower than the diaphragm. This deprives the solar plexus It's difficult. Let me continue it,
Yeah.
and you can do because it is difficult to translate deprives.
Yeah.
It deprives the solar plexus of a constant flow of energy. That is, it stops a constant flow of energy to and from the solar plexus.
Yeah.
That is it. And greatly aids in freeing the psychic from the astral plane.
Das den
Make it
psychischen
free.
Bereich
Visualize a vivid golden yellow. Ponder on the true significance, value and reward of silence. So you should think of silence, its significance and its value while meditating upon the golden yellow color. This is how we have to do. I will repeat the few sentences, very important. But, no, I will repeat, run on. Whenever anyone feels difficulty, she will translate it. Much good can come from the frequent use of the color yellow. One should surround himself with this color. It serves to keep inflowing energies in the head or to prevent their descent no lower than the diaphragm. Not lower than the diaphragm. This deprives the solar plexus of a constant inflow of energy and greatly aids in freeing the psychic from the astral plane. Visualize a vivid golden yellow color. Ponder on the true significance, value and reward of silence. Another meditation. Visualize a vivid electric blue around yourself. Ponder on the true significance, value and reward of joy. So, while meditating upon the blue color, you should think about joy, its significance, its value and its reward. So these two colors are to be meditated in the given form. So for some time meditate upon the yellow color along with the concept of silence. Meditate upon the electric blue color along with the concept of joy. After completing these two processes, sound Om 3 times audibly with thought in mind. As you sound it in the following manner. While uttering Om first time, you have the thought that you are cleansing your aura. That is, you are having a shower bath of Om, cleaning all the aura. When you are uttering it for a second time, then meditate the silencing of all discords. Silencing of all discords. That is, whatever there is undesirable in us and around us, it is silenced. This should be the meditation when you are uttering Om for a second time. Then for a third time, the expression of joy. So, this should be the meditation of the succession. Yellow color. Would you mind waiting? The yellow color, blue color, Om as cleaning, Om as silencing fire, Om as joy. This is the procedure, and the color you meditate upon should be much bigger than your own size. It's not effective at all if you meditate it a little in brow center or in the heart center, in the form of a little candle flame, it begins to flicker whenever the mind flickers, and then disappears when the air blows. So let it engraft you from all sides, and also from within you, outside, the same color shines. This is technically called sealing the door where evil dwells. So we will continue tomorrow. We will utter Om thrice as the Master asked us to do, and then do the Gayatri thrice. And I make a little announcement of a little modification of meditation. If it is convenient to all of you, today's afternoon seminar, we will continue the lesson on colors and sounds instead of astrology. So there are two schools of thought, the right-handed and the left-handed. Okay. 2 minutes to 3 p.m. That is 2 minutes before we start the afternoon seminar. Let one of you represent all the other to tell me whether I continue with the astrology or continue with the color. And let the verdict be given by Saint Paul.
Der heilige Paul möge wirklich sprechen.
Thank you. Those who positively demand only astrology in the afternoon session should be able to tell me from which book I have taken these meditations.